Straight from one of the more underrated films in the franchise comes the focus of the newest custom kit build. The 1966 film Abira Horror of the Deep, or perhaps more favorably known as Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, is a usually forgotten but fun entry into the series. Because of this, you don't see a lot of merchandise or references from this film. It's not one of the more famous Godzilla movies. But when kit sculpting studio Tengetsu Craft revealed a resin 30cm Godzilla 1966, it was one that I didn't really want to pass up on. Hi guys, this is Iconick Repaints, and today we're looking at my completed Tengetsu Craft Godzilla 1966. Right off the bat, this is a very unique looking Godzilla, sculpted flawlessly if that word could even be applied to this guy. This is Godzilla as he appeared at the very end of the film, when he is destroying the military compound of the Red Bamboo terrorist group. What's interesting about this suit is that halfway through producing this film, it would be sent off by Toho Studios to be used as a base for other monsters in the Ultraman television series. Now, the producer of Ultraman was the producer of the earliest Godzilla film, so that relationship was there, and they were kind of doing things here and there, little favors for each other to help each studio save a buck. And what happened during this is the head of this Godzilla suit was damaged, and by the time it got sent back to Toho to finish Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, a new but shoddy replacement had to be created. The face is a little rough to look at, it's not symmetrical, and it sort of has this Cookie Monster on heroin expression as he stomps through military barracks in a dazed manner. This is sometimes the result of trying to save costs. And Toho, to their credit, they used to pull stuff like this off all the time. They just weren't banking on something like the internet being created decades down the line to kind of call them out on their shit. To the sculptor's credit, though, this battered appearance is really replicated perfectly. He's got a great size to him. He stands about 32 centimeters tall, I'd say. A strong shelf presence, as he is so peculiar but classic looking all at the same time. I think any fan of the series could just look at him and know exactly what scene inspired the sculpt. And moreover, I think a lot of people would recognize this design based solely on having seen this movie, even without possibly even really realizing that they've seen this movie, whether growing up as a kid or on a part of maybe the old school TNT movie marathons. I think it's just a movie that's kind of gotten a lot of airtime back in the day. So it does have that going for it. There's a very thick tree bark scale pattern and the one large dominant row of spines going down his back, and they're adorned by two very small rows around it. That's a very Showa era staple. That's very common and easy to identify as being Showa era Godzilla suits. His mannerisms are present in the pose they captured him in. Like, he's got this clumsy and awkward but yet still unstoppable power. He's like kind of got like a flailing motion that became more present in the later Showa era movies, where Godzilla would he would have less of this terrifying, stalking, unstoppable look to him like the 1954 and 1964 suits, and more humanizing, just eccentric looking motion to him as he would be, let's just say, confronting the military or stepping through buildings, anything to that nature. Painting him was really fun because I can go to town with this, with like the browns and the grays, and still be movie accurate. Because by the time they shot the scene in the film, this suit has seen a lot of mileage. In the movie, you could see the marks in the dirt composed within the texture of the skin, and furthermore, after this film, the suit would be primarily used as a stunt suit. So that kind of just speaks on the state of the physical shape of the suit. This was my first kit from this studio, and I was surprised how much of it is hollow resin. The pieces definitely seemed light to me out of the box, but it didn't really hit me until like as I kind of was rinsing them in the water and dish soap, and the pieces just started floating on me. So that was new for me, but I am pleasantly surprised by the quality of the sculpt. However, and I'm definitely interested in attaining some more other pieces, especially the 1984 poster version. But since I think a lot of these are Winterfest exclusives, I think they're going to be really hard to come by. I was lucky enough to get him. But yeah, so, and real quick, before I end this video, Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster is, like I alluded to earlier, it's a fun entry into the series. It's not, it doesn't have a ton of monster action, but what's also interesting about it is it was originally supposed to be a Japanese King Kong movie. There's a whole story behind why Kong was scrapped and Godzilla was inserted into the movie, but it is kind of an odd film that's thrust into the middle of the Godzilla series, because he's kind of gone from fighting this, these super powerful space monsters to fighting a giant lobster. And yet it really does hold up well. The human cast is incredible. They make it a really fun movie to watch, even when there's not much of the monster battles going on. Akira Takarada leads the charge, and it's one of his best roles, one of my favorites that he's ever done. So, yeah, I think it's it's a weird film. There's no doubt about that. It's a weird movie, but it's a good one. It really is. It's a good one, and it's unlike any other Godzilla movie. I also like the fact that it's mostly shot on an island, which is it's a more interesting backdrop than your typical city smashing Godzilla melee film. But that'll do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and please subscribe if you haven't already done so. It definitely helps. Be safe, everybody. Peace.